I have, when I search for KUB in my records, I come up with 70 entries. I'm not saying those are all separate KUBs. I'm saying that I'm going to need to get to all 70 to answer your question.
Actually, that's good enough right there.
Okay, let me ask somebody to read the medical records. KUB is constipation? Or?
No, that's the kind of x-ray that they do to check for constipation.
Thank you.
Okay, so according to what you just looked up, just to clarify, your answer to that question is there were 70 KUBs ordered by the doctors?
Objection is what she said.
And sustain that as mistake or entire answer.
Okay. Can you clarify for the record?
I'm saying that the term KUB came up in my file 70 times. I'm not saying those are separate KUBs. I'm saying that the term came up. So for me to answer your question, I need to go through each of those 70 and check to see if the symptom matched the x-ray.
I'm sorry. Is it if it's just the word is mentioned, or if they actually?
Yeah, this is just a search function on my table to help me find things faster. And so it might be that it was the KUB is being discussed, and so the word KUB shows up 4 times in one note. And so the number of KUBs that are listed in here are, I'm sure, smaller than 70. But I'm giving you that number to give you an idea of how much time I need to go through and see if those two things match. But I'm also wanting to state that I would expect that it often did, because she did have delayed gastric emptying, and she did have many episodes of constipation. So I'm expecting there would be a good amount of matching. If you want the actual number and percentage, it will take some time.
That's fine. So it's fair to say that Hannah most likely had an issue with constipation based off of how many times it pulled up KUB being discussed, or possible x-rays?
She clearly had some constipation issues.
Okay. And again, the gastric scan was positive, is that correct?
The initial, yes. Not the most recent one, but the others, yes.
And also, she was on ditropan at the time. Whether it was given to her at the time of the gastric scan is questionable, but she was on ditropan at the time. She could have or could not have affected her gastric scan. Correct. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And who ordered the gastric scan?
I think it was Dr. Seow.
And who's Dr. Seow again?
He is one of the Peaks GI docs at Phoenix Children's Hospital.
And can you tell me, is that the GI doctor that's overseeing her now?
I don't believe so.
Who is the GI doctor that's overseeing her right now?
It's my understanding that I believe it's somebody from Banner.
Okay. And you had mentioned that she had a recent gastric scan that was done in March, is that correct?
I believe it was March, yes.
Okay, and that came out
Completely normal.
What the results came out normal?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me what Hannah's current weight is right now?
I cannot. I do not know.
Okay. Can you tell me what Hannah's current weight is when she was taken into custody, into the state's custody?
I can look at that discharge summary. You probably know the date of that off the top of your head.
She was taken into custody on 4/8 of 2014.
She weighed 76 pounds, 76.72 pounds.
Okay, do you know the weight that she weighed when she entered into the hospital?
For that hospitalization?
Yes.
Oh, no. This is the discharge summary. This is the inpatient admission. That was the admission weight.
Okay, so that was admission weight?
That was admission weight, yeah, sorry.
Okay. Let the record reflect there's discrepancy in the weight.
Well, we haven't heard the discharge weight yet. She just stated that was only the admission. The original weight was 79.
Objection, discharge.
Sustained, you can testify to what you recall, but it's not going to testify now.
Sorry, this is the discharge summary. Okay. Okay, here it is. Discharge weight, oh, I have to convert, is 34.4 kilos. Let me go back up to the first one, so I can tell you what the kilos is on admission. It was 35.6 at admission.
Okay, have you seen the most recent foster care review board records?
I do not know.
Have you seen any of the foster care review board records?
Possibly. I can look at my list and see if I have.
Yes.
I don't see them.
So you have not had a chance to review the foster care review board records that state that Kayla lost 14 pounds in the state's care. Are you not aware of that?
Objection, foundation. Why don't you rephrase the question?
Are you aware that Kayla has lost 14 pounds in the state's care?
I'm aware that she initially lost weight. I don't know what her current weight is. I don't recall off the top of my head how much weight it was, but I do know that she did drop weight when she was put into care.
Are you aware that Hannah has lost 13 pounds in the state's care?
It's the same answer.
I'm trying to separate out the children.
Yeah.
And are you aware that Kayla was placed back on the feeding tube in the state's care?
Kayla receives a small portion of her nutrition, I believe, through nightly feeding still.
Do you know how many hours a day that is?
I think it's overnight, but I don't have current records, so I don't know what the current rate is.
And you stated that, I quote, "I did not evaluate the girls." Is that correct? You have not had a chance to actually evaluate the children?
I have not requested to, and it's not, my evaluation is not dependent on the report.
Why would it not be important to evaluate the children in which you are deciding their futures?
Because the questions that I have are beyond their reasoning ability. And because whenever I can avoid putting children in a position of feeling like they have gotten their parents into trouble, I try to avoid that. There was so much data here that it didn't seem like it was really going to add anything, and it might make it a little harder for them and for your family, so I didn't really see a need to.
Are you aware that in the parents' care, the children were not losing weight?
They did lose weight, and they gained weight. It seemed that there was both. Weight loss, I believe, was part of the rationale for some of the intervention.
Are you aware that once placed on the feeding tubes, the children were gaining weight and thriving in the parents' care?
I wouldn't say they were thriving.
Are you aware that in the parents' care, the children were gaining weight once placed on the feeding tube?
I can look at my records. That would make sense to me. I don't know that it's needed for me to actually look at that. That would make sense to me, but I can't recall off the top of my head.
Are you aware that once placed in the state's care, the children lost weight?
Yes.
Are you aware that the significant amount of weight the children lost while placed in the state's care caused harm?
That would be a great question to ask their GI doc. I'm not medically caring for them, so I can't really answer that.
Are you aware that the CASA alerted the case manager that Kayla was going 3 days at a time without eating while in the state's care?
Objection, foundation, here's the.
You can answer that question. Go ahead. Are you aware of it?
Not that specific detail. I am aware that there was a CASA that had concerns, but I don't recall that specific concern. It's been quite a while now, so I don't know if I knew it and forgot it, but I'm aware there was a CASA that had concerns.
In your psychological opinion, based off of your degree, is that concerning that a child would go 3 days at a time without eating?
Objection, foundation.
If that's true, would that be concerning to you? If it's true that the child went 3 days without eating, would that be a concern?
Yes.
What would be your recommended intervention for the child who is going 3 days at a time without eating?
Objection, foundation.
You can
This is
answer
all
that.
relevant.
This is a hypothetical. Understanding that this is a hypothetical question. You can answer.
It would really depend on the reason for it. Because it could be that she was having physical symptoms that made her not want to eat. It could have been that she was really upset. It could have been that she was wanting to make a statement. I mean, there's so many different things, but it really depends on what the cause is. I would be wanting evaluation of that at some level.